Hey BookTube, Sean here. Today I want to do a book review video. I know I don't do a lot of single book review videos. In fact, I haven't done one in 3.5 years, I think. I kind of stopped doing them because I wasn't reading. I wasn't reading a ton at the time, and now that my reading is picking up, and I'm starting to take on review copies again, I want to start doing more single review videos as a way to get more content out to you guys, and also as I start to read more, like I said, review copies and getting more into self-published and indie work, I think some of those books are going to deserve a more dedicated review video rather than just a wrap-up video. So today I want to talk about Day Zero by C. Robert Cargill. This is a ARC copy that I got through NetGalley. I actually got approved for it after the book came out. I requested it shortly before the book came out because I reviewed an ARC copy of C. Robert Cargill's Sea of Rust, which I will link down below. It's actually one of my most viewed videos. So I wanted to read and give Day Zero kind of the same treatment. Now, Day of Zero is a prequel to Sea of Rust. So Sea of Rust is about a world where the robot uprising has occurred and humanity no longer exists. The world is run by robots. And Day Zero is about a period, the few days period of time where that uprising occurs. In Day Zero, we follow a nanny bot named Pounce, who is part of a deluxe line of nanny bots. It's the deluxe zoo line, and they are, as you can see on the cover, is a tiger. So they are built and covered to look like zoo animals to give kids more comfort. So we follow Pounce and his 8-year-old Ezra, who is the child Pounce is the nanny bot for. And it's about Pounce's, the robot apocalypse happens, and now Pounce needs to try and keep Ezra alive and get him to safety. And that's the basic plot of the book. I didn't enjoy this one as much as I enjoyed Sea of Rust. I loved Sea of Rust. I thought Sea of Rust was spectacular. The character work was great. I almost forgot that I was reading about robots. Day Zero, I think, suffered a little bit by focusing in just on this one part of the uprising. So for the first half of the book, we're actually getting the history, some of the history and what's involved in the events leading up to the robot uprising, which we get a lot of in Sea of Rust too. And I think in Sea of Rust, I think it's actually handled better in Sea of Rust, more detailed and less info dumpy. So for the first 40% of this book, I felt I was getting a rehash and a very info dumpy rehash. But once it hit that 40-45% mark, it really took off. And then it was just like action sequence after action sequence, and it became very fast paced and just barreled on towards the end. Once I got to the 40-45% mark, I finished it in no time. I don't think the character work was as well done in this book. I didn't really connect with either of the main characters in the book as much as I did, say, Brittle in Sea of Rust. What he did do really well in this book is establish the relationship between Pounce and Ezra. You really got how much Pounce cared for Ezra and vice versa, how much Ezra cared for Pounce. I say that because it was reiterated almost every chapter. It almost became too repetitive. I say almost because it did end up being successful in establishing that relationship, because the last few pages of the book, I welled up. It got an emotional response from me. I do still think that we didn't need it drilled into our brains every single chapter, but it was effective. And I ended up giving the book 3.5 stars versus 3 stars because of the emotional response I had at the end of the book. I did still enjoy the book, but for me, I was constantly comparing it to Sea of Rust, which was fantastic, and I loved it. And I just don't think this was as successful a prequel as maybe he might have hoped. I know a few other people have absolutely loved this book, and I don't dislike it. I did enjoy it, but when I compare, like I said, when I compare it to Sea of Rust, it falls flat. I think personally, I would have preferred a more broader, maybe multi-character POV perspective of the robot uprising. I think it suffered a little bit by focusing in on just these, on just these two characters. So that's it. That is my thoughts on Day Zero by C. Robert Cargill, which is a prequel to Sea of Rust. Like I said, I will link my Sea of Rust review down below. Thank you to all my subscribers. I appreciate every single one of you. If you'd like this video and like to see more from me, hit the subscribe button, bell icon, like button, comment. Let me know if you enjoyed this and want to see more single review videos from me. I want to get better again at making them, and I want to use them to get more content out. So I will see you guys all in the next one.